First of all, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for being our teacher.
Thank you. So, and I wanted to go around the room and ask some questions about your psychic abilities currently and where you guys are at. Like, how do you feel about your psychic abilities? So, Tor, you want to go first?
Learning to control the emotion after the healing, it's better. It's like, it was at like 75%, and now it's like 90, you know, and I don't hold it in.
Oh,
you know, I've learned.
You're talking about your intuition.
Right. Oh, yes, my intuition. And of course, I'm a Reiki master as well.
Okay.
But I didn't advertise it, and I only did it to people that I knew.
Okay.
And I never charged for it. So now that's changed as well. Once I get my, get it all together, I love to astral travel, and I have like 7 different people that I go into that I am. And so it's a never ending story.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know that. So yeah, it definitely is a never ending story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're pretty in touch with your intuition to the degree where you can use it in Reiki and you can manipulate energy and you can heal. So that's great. So you just want to learn to hone in and getting more specific, more detailed.
Exactly.
And carry it deeper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Leslie.
I'm in a death rebirth phase, so I haven't had too much recently, but up until that point, clairaudient.
Oh, okay.
My first, some telepathy experiences.
Do you have an ability to do animal communication?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
Is it written all over you?
Yeah, same thing with plants.
It's like the animals. The animals are like waiting for you.
I need to get out of the city and find some. That's for sure.
Definitely. And then maybe start with a pet or something. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I've been working on clairvoyancy. Intuition scares me. I'm still untrustworthy of myself.
Yeah, that's a tricky area as soon as you get into intuition. So sometimes it's easier to play kind of like the easy route, which is like psychic games. You start to kind of warm up until you get comfortable with learning to trust your intuition, because that starts to going into your truth and your soul path.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then I've almost gotten to astral travel. I'm very close, but
that's good.
It's difficult when you have a partner and they're moving around like a fish.
Yeah.
But I'll get there.
Yeah, there's different kinds of astral travel. I mean, when you're talking complete, total out of body, you could do that in a trance state, but you can also do that in like your sleep state, where you actually physically, like your body is like almost dead in a way. Their heartbeat is very slow, and then you remove your body, like an out of body experience. So, okay, great. So those are that's where you're at, right? Okay. So then, Christy.
I still don't know exactly all of mine, because my biological father and my mother both are empaths. My dad sees and talks to the deceased, and he talks to animals and they talk to him. It's all kind of stuff he does.
Well, Erica said that she spoke to you recently and that you told her that you can sense spirits.
Yes, ma'am. I know when they're here. They touch me a lot. I can feel like I can feel whenever I go somewhere and there's bad stuff or negative, I get sick, I'll vomit, or like I'll have anxiety attacks. I dream a lot about aliens. Come to me a lot in my dreams and tell me a lot of things. I dream a lot about deceased. I think I dream a lot about like past lives.
Yes.
I'm starting to hear like, for example, there's a woman that stays around here, and every time like I'll walk in somewhere, she'll hum. When she sees me, she'll hum. And animals are always coming to me, babies. It's all I know. I have a lot of things, I just don't know what they are, and I want to know so I can learn how to further them, because I'm excited.
You know, most people I noticed that had any kind of trauma in their past usually make for great psychic mediums, trance channels, clairvoyants, psychics, people who have had that trauma. It just opens you up. breaks you open, so you're not so rigid. You can receive. The more trauma you have, the more you can see, apparently, from what I've noticed. So,
exactly.
Right. I knew somebody who, she reminds me of you, and I've talked about her. She's in my book and everything. She ended up becoming a coach for, girls mainly in the foster care system. But she was raised, her and her brother, by a mother who was a crackhead type of, like, just drugs 24/7. So she literally would walk out of the apartment at 2 or 3 years old and sleep under the stairway outside in the cold by the dumpster with her brother. And the mom would be locked in the apartment for 3 days, and neighbors would find them. And it went from there to the foster system, and then getting abused in the foster system. So she's had this really torturous life. And then, we work together, and she's come through, and she's on the other side. But her abilities to see people who have crossed, to get messages, to see auras, to communicate at the psychic level, and it's just natural. She doesn't do anything. It just happens all the time. And I helped her kind of not be scared of it. And I helped her understand it was because that was her path. So sometimes the deeper your trauma, it helps you in this area.
It does. It
does. Okay, so I know you're not Eve. You're using your daughter's computer, so you're Ali. So tell me, what psychic abilities do you feel like you have, or what kind of clairvoyancy or any kind of psychic ability?
And I've had experience of little bits and pieces of all the clairs. I think I used to mainly be someone that just knew things. I had like a feeling or a knowing.
Right.
And then I kind of asked, I've seen spirits sort of as a child, ran people's houses. A friend used to live in an old prison, and the prison guard appeared to me when I was drying up one day, and that was the first time I ever saw spirit, and I just froze. And then I sort of, like Christy, felt them come up and tap me on the shoulder and things like that. Sort of growing up, and as a child, then around that age, I was astral traveling sort of at will and things like that. But apart from when they decided to show themselves to me, I couldn't just see. It was sort of that feeling went away, and then it was more, I was sort of dreams, and just knowing stuff and lots of synchronicities. And then I kind of shut myself down after a few bad experiences, shut myself down, and because I was sort of getting telepathy, I'd be walking down the street and I could hear what people were thinking as I was walking past them, and I didn't want to know it, and I'd reply to them and they'd be sort of freaked out and stuff. And I thought, this is getting too much. And actually friends started talking to me, like channeling, spirit was coming to me, or aliens or whoever, talking through friends and stuff as kids.
So you're very wide open, apparently.
It was just too intense. And yeah, and then, but I was always still interested in numerology and astrology and all this kind of thing. I did a little bit of palm reading, runes, sort of delved in a few different things. And then
some people have experienced what you're saying and have thought they were having a psychotic episode.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I met this woman who when she met me, she says, I think I'm schizophrenic, I know I'm bipolar, and she was listing off all these things. And so she said, I don't think you can help me. No one's been able to help me. And within about 30 minutes, I was like, oh my God, you're just a channel. You're a trance channel. You're 100%, 100% open. And she had witnessed her mother's death. So that was like when she was little.
Wow.
That was the catalyst. But once she realized that, it was like all of a sudden, from this wobbly life experience that she had, all of a sudden she just, boom, centered completely and was able to just continue her life beautifully. And so you get misdiagnosed. That's why back in the day, they used to put you in a mental institution if you were to talk like
Well, that's why I never said anything.
Right?
Yes, I was probably came quite close.
A white and black thing. You could drink out of this fountain, but you can't drink out of that fountain. So yeah I zipped it.
Absolutely. And I think sort of things happening, and it got to the stage where, this is quite embarrassing to say, but it got to the stage where at school people would ask me questions and I would just channel something through, and because they were taunting me, and and they brought vicars into the school to kind of deal with me. So that was.
So you're considered a wild child.
Yeah,
I
that was
love
sort of in the
that.
final year of
That's
school. I was
awesome.
about 16, something like that. And yeah, so I kind of thought, yeah, this is getting a bit stupid.
Any other wild children in the room
Oh, good.
that do everything wrong?
I read that in your book last night.
And as
Oh,
far
right.
as sort of like alien type connections and galactic connections, back then, around about that time, one of my friends, she
Yes.
was a great artist, and she would sit there and we would have like this music going, orchestral maneuvers in the dark or something, this song that used to happen, Joan of Arc, I think it was called, and the window used to move in time to the music, and she would sit there and just channel drawings, like, and draw different planets. I wish I'd kept them, but she'd be like, this is where you come from, or this is where we're from. Wow. Drawing these planets. And then kind of fast forward to like when my kids were little, getting interested in crystals and all that kind of thing, and then discovering that I could do healing with my hands. And this lady said, this medium said to me, oh, you've got healing hands, all these people coming through going, that's what you should be doing. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And my friend,
I want to point something out to everybody about how you're speaking. I want to point something out because this is a little high level, but just bear with me. Okay. You see how she's talking? You guys see the energy, like,
oh yes.
But do you see where it's coming from? It's very, very vibing, very high. You see that? Mm-hmm. So that means that she can tune into higher frequencies easier than lower frequencies. Now, I want to be clear that lower frequencies doesn't mean bad or evil. Lower frequencies means that's the state they're in, right? Now, Christy, when she told her story, it was from the opposite spectrum. She was vibing in the lower frequency with a more earth plane. So she can pick up spirits here easier and faster than Ali could. But Ali could talk to aliens faster than Christy could. You see that?
Right.
Okay.
Do you understand how to? So when I'm listening to people,
that everybody, when they wake up, just before they wake up, if they have the same thing like I do, that's when they talk fast, all at once. Do you get that? It's like, whoa.
No, Tort. So Tort represents the balance between both worlds. So she can go into the lower vibration earth realm, and she could also go into the higher vibration. So she's learned how to navigate between those two worlds. And Leslie, we're still trying to find you. What I'm getting is that you're very earthy. So you can do animal communication, elemental communication. You could do anything.
You're really great at it.
Like I got chills running up and down.
Yeah, I just got chills on my arm.
Chills. Like you can read water if you wanted to. You could read. You could stand in a lake and give a message from the lake.
It honestly surprised me when I started kind of figuring it out that it was a lot of it was going to be earthy for me because it was like way up before.
Well, what's your sign? I'm curious.
I'm Pisces.
Oh, interesting. Well, it's very water. I mean, that's Earth. You're still on the planet.
The first thing that hit me was the mermaids. I mean, that was the first thing. It was just, and I went right with it. I told my daughter, I'm like, we're mermaids, and we just play. We're mermaids all day long.
Yeah.
So I've even got my twin. I tell him he's a mermaid, so he's going with it too.
We need a lot of mermen. Do you guys? Yeah. We need a lot of mermen.
Yes, we do.
A lot. Okay, Ali, I'm going to cut you short because I have a feeling there's a lot where this comes from. So I'm
sorry.
I wanted to wrap it up for you so that you can see kind of a bigger perspective of how you channel. So you channel like fairy realm, angelic, alien level, like very high frequencies. So your big challenge is really to bring you to Earth and have you communicate with the Earthlings.
Okay.
And that's why you're learning that from me. I'm like Tort, where I can communicate in both realms, but I had to learn how to do it. It wasn't super easy for me, to learn. So because you can go up, 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 up.
Yes.
You'll fly away. So
oh yes.
We have to tether you, grab you with a string, and tie you to a chair.
Right.
Stay here with us. And I was going to go over to Al, but Christy, I'll take your question.
if y'all don't mind me asking, because I'm the type of person I always say I don't want to offend anyone because I'm very sensitive and I love everybody. I haven't told y'all yet. I have done Reiki 1 attunement before. Okay. But for some reason I couldn't get myself to get really close to the lady that I went to. There was just something about her. I didn't go back to her. And I was told that Reiki brings upon demons and bad things to people that do Reiki. And it freaked me out,
Right. Well, let Tort give a shot at it, and then I'll give a shot at it. But I want to get to Al and Sharma also, so we may have to do a short answer.
Right. A short answer would be that you need a cleansing and a grounding. You need to clean and cleanse your whole being, and then that won't happen. That feeling will be gone.
Okay.
My answer would be similar, but what I would do is the cleansing is in the actual environment itself, because I've encountered some of these darker entities and they were spooky and they were scary. And I had to just announce my presence and then sage and do my cleansings and just crystals and just make sure that that being knows who she's dealing with, he or she, or whatever it is, they know who I am. So I bring my flashlight. I'm the light. So I come to that. What Tort is probably talking about is when people take it in.
Yes.
When they take it into their being. So you're transferring dark energy into yourself,
right.
And you're the host. You're hosting.
Exactly.
So if you never give them an opportunity to come in by just being in your light, there's no room for them.
No.
Your vibration's too high.
Yes, ma'am. But is it bad to do the Reiki is what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Well, Reiki falls in any kind of category for me of healing modalities. There's not something good or bad about any healing modalities. It's really the practitioner. It's the person doing it. It's really what you bring to it. Like, is golf bad? Some people might think golf is really bad. So, it's just what you bring to the table. It's not the modality itself. It's not like witchcraft or something bad. A lot of newcomers start with Reiki. And the thing is about Reiki is that if you're new and you don't understand your full balanced self, you can, you're playing in the ethereal realms. So you can start, initiating conversations you may not have wanted to initiate and you don't know how to handle. That's all it is.
Right.
Okay,
so let's get to Al. So Al, please tell us your psychic abilities, your skill sets, where you're at.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. So it's a bit of an unusual one for me. I kind of got a mixture, a mixed bag of things. I'm quite highly intuitive, always have been, but not to the point where I have it under control. It's just there, like a garden hose going like all over the place. I am sorry?
No, somebody just joined us. I was saying hello.
I'm aware of things that are happening in the present, the past, and the future all at the same time, pretty much most of the time. I have the ability to, let my cat into the room. That's an ability that I have that is kicking off.
You guys
man.
Talk to him.
When he says that he can see the past, present, and future at once, how I receive that, what that means to me is that he is aware of his multidimensional selves.
Oh, awesome.
That was the next thing I was going to say is I have experience of parallel realities in that I'm pretty sure I have experienced my death 4 times, 4 different selves at different points, which is kind of nuts. But that was, I don't really want to talk too much about that. Let's just touch on it and move on. I channel as well. I can do channeled writing. I do work with the tarot cards. That's all channeled as well. With music, that's all channeled as well. With writing, that is all channeled. And I'm able to have pretty consistent communication with those who have crossed over that are close to me as well. And about 2 weeks ago, I had a spontaneous beginnings of an astral experience one night when I couldn't sleep And I was just like, I can't sleep. I'll get up. And I was like, holy shit, like I'm still in the bed. I'm walking around the room. And then I kind of realized what was going on, and I was back in my body. Then I got that very kind of, that vibration that sits there when you're doing like the plant medicine stuff before you, off you go. My whole body was like vibrating, and then I knew that I could separate it if I wanted to, but I didn't quite pull it off. So that's the next thing that I've been working on. But yeah, like I say, just kind of a bit of a mixed bag, really.
So for those of you that just came in, hello, Crystal and Sharma. So how I hear Al, being that I've been a healer practitioner for a very long time, I hear him as a teacher. So he is going to do, or is doing, what I do. So he just teaches, and that's what happens is you start to get very well versed in so many modalities, and you start to understand the entirety of interplanetary galactic communication. So you get so good at it that it becomes like, that's why he's saying his repertoire is so big, because he's dabbled and tasted and been in so many different vibratory feelings and fields that he can communicate, receive messages, go out and receive, touch, experience in all of his multidimensional selves and other beings as well. So that is a teacher. That's what happens. You get to that point and then you're like, oh, I got to teach this. I got to show other people how to do this. So, and that's, so Al and I really synced up really fast on the Starseed group. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but when he first came on, we immediately started speaking kind of the same language, and we were like, oh, hey, I remember you. I know you. So it's kind of, we're both gonna like sync this journey together as teaching, and he helps me and I help him, and it's really fun. So now let's go to Sharma. Hi, Sharma. So
Hi.
tell us, what's your psychic abilities? What are your gifts and talents in this area?
I'm an empath.
Okay.
I can definitely, I can feel what people are feeling, whether they're showing it or not. Even if they try to hide it, they're not hiding it for me. I can spot liars from a mile away, that kind of thing. Very intuitive. I don't always listen to it. That's kind of been, downfall for me. I don't think that I've come to my full powers. I do nails and skincare, so I'm always in contact with people.
Right.
So I do have, and I've been doing this for like over 20 years. And so I do have that like physical kind of healing touch thing, and that people come to me for. I don't know how to describe
you probably give very good hugs.
Yeah.
People probably love hugging. So you just emanate. You emanate. Your energy field is very strong. And you feel cool. Yeah.
And I can see energy. I can see energy fields. I can see, and that's getting stronger. Like I keep getting like,
if it's light, like if it's more light or dark, right? Like something is darker there, something is lighter there. Okay.
Yes, and I can see like people's energy fields. I can't see like their colors, their auric colors, but I can see their energy fields around them and energy fields in between things and people and stuff. And
have you decided what you want to do with this?
No, that's kind of it. It's like things are like starting to like every
what do I do
day. It seems like things are waking up.
Yeah. Okay.
So well, I don't know.
Maybe in the course of our sessions and our talks, you'll start to get an inkling to go in one direction or another, and you start to feel kind of where you're called.
Yeah.
I'm going to tune into you throughout the duration of this talk, and I'll see what comes to me of like the direction that I see you going, or where I see your inclination is leaning towards. Because it's very vast actually, and it's very good. I just need to feel it a little bit more, because you are very wide open. So that's like, I have to like kind of rein you in a little bit so I could find you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crystal, hi, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Are you new to our group entirely?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. So when did you find us?
Just probably about 2 hours ago.
Wow.
Hey.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we're kind of an unusual Starseed group. I don't know if you've had enough time to figure that out. It's only been 2 hours, but I'll just give you the quick rundown. So we're a very neutral group. So that means we're not opposed to any like light and dark, like good versus evil, or contrasting polarities. Like we're not communicating from that place, because our teachings and our abilities have gone past that. So we're more in the unification, oneness conversation. So sometimes with some starseed groups, what happens is they mean well, they start off well, but what happens is they start venturing towards talking about how this is better than that. And that's what we did not want. We want to stay right down the middle so that we can enjoy the whole experience. And so what happened was that created a tighter community. So we only have like 490 members. We opened May 12th. And the people that have come on here, we have like up to 26,000 comments. The people who have come onto this group have made friendships, I can't describe to you what it has done for everybody. Like we have, all of us, including myself, we've all had huge awakenings, bigger and bigger than ever before, because of the communication, the support, feeling really connected and safe. I'm very protective of this group. In other words, no hecklers, nobody making fun of our words.
We cry together.
I don't let any, like outside, like too, like the information's too wild. Not that I don't believe it. Anything's possible, but I just want to keep the conversation clean. So everybody's learning and growing holistically, and just creating a safe place. So that's why this is such a unique group, and I'm not up to like 8,000 people and all that, and anybody can talk and all that. It's not like that for a reason. So I'm just introducing it to you right now because you've only been here two hours.
Yeah.
But that's who you were attracted. That's what you attracted. So that's where you're at. So welcome. Tell me what your psychic abilities are up until this point. What do you know about yourself?
Well, I have a lot of visions in my dreams, and a lot of things about the future experiences. Like I'll have really strong dreams that, and then just big events, mostly I'm talking about, like large events will happen. And then I'm just like, wow, like that was so in my dream. So I've always had really vivid dreams like that. And then I just really am sensitive to energy, to people's energy, and just kind of not had a community. I just kind of been on my own in this path. And so recently just been, with the news and media and everything that's happening, and then I kind of go on those, and then start to feel my immune system weaken. And so, just looking on YouTube and just seeing videos, I'm always trying to learn stuff. And I just kind of seen some of the quotes that you said in your video about just channeling love, because I feel like when I get in those dark places where all this information is coming, and I always want to find guides, but I just never go forward with that. I'm a child development teacher, so I work with 3 and 4 year olds.
I was wondering where that innocence was coming from. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yes.
It's
I
such
was just going to ask her.
she has very beautiful, crystalline, beautiful energy.
Yeah, so I kind of use my gift of just being able to attune. I really wanted to help children in that environment. So I've been doing that for 5 years, and just helping children grow, that have speech delays or behaviors. So this has just been hard, being home, being isolated. There's a lot of stuff. So one of the things just a couple things, and I'm just like, I'm tired of like kind of living in the dark because I don't have a community. Right. I go through this on my own. My spouse, we talk about it, but it's not as much as I kind of just, I'll keep it inside. And just hearing that, those couple quotes from you about just channeling love, because that's kind of what I've been doing in all this, dark energy, is I just think back to light and love of the universe. And so I kind of just saw that, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to start my yoga and start this and start that, and I'm going to get back out of this because I've been having a lot of indigestion, ear ringing, headaches, just been really bad.
Well, those are essential symptoms, but you're definitely in the right place. You are going to get a lot of information after we're done with this talk. I really highly suggest you go through the rest of the videos, the discussion pods that were pre-recorded, how-to videos on my YouTube channel. There's so much information where this comes from to help you kind of center, calm yourself, be guided, and to guide yourself in a way that feels really good for you, and yet at the same time enhance your abilities. So congratulations, you have found your first stop on your path. Good for you. Well,
for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Emily.
So what I would like to do, there's two ways I can do this. I'm being guided to not do it the first way, so might just go into the second way. What I was going to say this first way was to do a general talk and then to open the floor to questions. But the guides were saying, no, go straight to the questions. So that's where we're at right now. I would like, the best way to do this is whoever has any questions about any area in the psychic phenomenon, what that will do is open up those portals, and the conversations will start just going in and out of each other. And that's how we're going to get this whole conversation going, because as you know, it's a big, vast topic.
Yes.
Right. So any burning questions, anything that's coming to you right now, things about yourself, things you would like to focus on, learn about, you want to know more, you want to know how to go forward in some areas, and as specific as you can get, the better. I'm also going to tune in to whatever you're saying. I'm going to feel intuitively the answer, as well as to help you understand how to get further along in that area. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, Christy.
I'm sorry. I've been waiting a long time. I've prayed since I was young to find, my family and people to help me and tell me about my abilities. Mine is, I know I have a lot, and I am a very strong empath too, just like Sharma. So I know what she's talking about. How is it that we know, which ones that we do have and which ones that we, should like work with more to help people? And because I'm tired of like feeling like I'm being in a box, because I know I'm supposed to be doing something to help.
Well, with you very strongly, what I'm getting right off the bat is to work with your hands and use your hands as a healing tool. And I'll tell you why and how. So when you're channeling so much energy like you are, and you don't have the skill set yet in learning how to communicate verbally, this is a great starting point. It's a great starting place to channel your energies into another being while you're learning to talk. So for me, it took me years to learn how to speak this language. It's the language of light. It's the language of love. And it takes a lot of years of practice. And just like Crystal, 5 years working with children, and it's a lot of finely tuned, detailed learning how to speak. So it's the same in this area. When you start giving messages to people, when you start feeling things, and because your energy is so big, and because you've had the past that you've had, and you have so much channeled information coming through you, you could be occurring, and like I used to be, as harsh or rough or too aggressive, or it can come off in a way that maybe you didn't want it to sound like that. That's how people will hear it, because you're not used to like learning how to speak here. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so before we even go into like which modalities or which talents do I have, what do I use, my very first recommendation is to grab the first person, and kids are always willing to be the patients, they love it, but grab a person, preferably somebody in your family, and somebody who needs it the most. You go to the person who needs it the most. Okay, it could be your sister, and you have them lay down, and you put some essential oil between your hands. You can hold a crystal. You set your intention. You quiet your mind. You close your eyes. You don't have to put music on. If you want to, you can. And you get very quiet and still. And then you put your hand on her leg or her foot, and you let your body be the instrument to where her pain or discomfort or some part of her body doesn't feel right. Like there's blocks or an injury or something in the circulation, something's happening there. So in her case, I'm getting her feet are just,
That's what I got.
yeah, they're like blocks of like bricks.
Big time. Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with her personality and her walk of life, her journey, so that she's just very rigid in her beliefs. And so then she doesn't move her feet. So her feet have become like tick, 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 like this. So when you touch her foot like this with both hands, and you put your bottom hand under the sole of her foot, and you press and you hold and you go in, what's going to happen is she's going to eventually feel you, and you're the sister, so it'll be faster and easier to feel you. And the thing is, it could break her right there on the spot where words can't work, but she will feel you. And the fact you're giving her that kind of love and attention might be so touching for her that she will get emotional. It could happen. Or she'll get very quiet because she's her senses are listening to what's happening. So you start at the foot, and then you work your way up the leg, go up to the knee, spend a lot of time in the knees, because knees hold a lot of stuff, because it's about flexibility and the journey of life moving forward. And then go to the other leg and do the same thing. And then do that with her hands to her elbows. Depends on how far she'll let you go and how long you want to go. So you could do the hands, do the same thing, do a lot of squeezing of the hands, holding, sending your intention, sending love, peace. You might start getting visuals. You might start getting messages from her. You can keep them to yourself in the beginning until she's ready to hear it. Or you can just say one or two things and just let her have a couple messages, but don't overload her, because this is a new experience. So you touch her hands and her arms, you go all the way like this. And then you can go into different family members. When I first started doing this, I started getting a reputation in the family. Everybody knew that I was the one that was going to lay hands. And that's what they would say. They would say, oh, let Oriah lay hands on you. That's just where because I couldn't speak. I didn't know how to deliver messages or how to give what I was seeing. So I just worked with my hands, massage, deep pressing, holding, just healing energy through your hands. And then people started to get to the point where they were feeling heat emanating off my hands because the channel was so open. And then it got to the point where there was a couple people who just came out of surgeries and stuff, and I would just put my hand directly over that area, and they were feeling immediate pain, release of the pain in that area, because my intention is so strong, and they feel that intention, and then they receive it, and they match that frequency. So then boom, right there you have a connection, and that's how healing happens.
That's why my hands stay so hot, huh?
Yeah, that's a good sign. That's why.
My husband has been having a headache every day for like 5 years now. And we've done everything, like MRIs, everything. There's nothing. They can find nothing. He's got that and back problems. And
well, it could be a lot of just, being disconnected to his realities. So he is not in his own orbit. He's off kilter. So he's an empath too, and he needs a lot of TLC. So laying hands on him, I get his chest for him, because men take on a lot. Believe it or not, ladies, men take on more than us. I don't know if you guys know that. We take a lot. We take a lot, but men,
they don't express it, do they?
You want to know why? And I'm going to speak for Al. You want to know why? And I have many different experiences, and I know this. Okay, it's too long to go into, but I will tell you why they take more than we do. Is because men don't show the same kind of mercy to each other as us women do. And men have to handle things in such a way that women will never know. And it is so overwhelming sometimes if you think about it. There are some pros, believe me, there's some beautiful aspects of being a man that you'll really just be so grateful that you came here on the planet to be a man. But there's that part of it, which is the interactions between men are so intense. It's just a different world. It's a different culture than what we have. And us women know that because we were raised different. We were raised that it's okay to be emotional, and it's okay to let it out. It's okay to be all these things. And most men, especially older generations, they're just not raised that way. So, so they're trying to find it now. So Al, I know, was raised a little differently than most men. He had very compassionate, loving parents, and they taught him it's okay to be outward and everything. But I'm sure in his interactions there in London, walking in the streets, going to the store.
Yeah, there was the childhood
dealing
was
with-
fine. Then in the adult world, everyone was a bit like, you need to keep this in more, and then you start to kind of take it on, take it on.
Us women can get away with it. I mean, we really can. You know, we can say more, and people just expect that's what's going to happen. That's what we do.
So can I just say something to Christy?
Yes.
About if she's going to start doing healing and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, Oriah, to cut in.
No,
I just feel because of what she's already said about that she takes things on. I just want her to think about imagining when you're feeling those energies, or as an empath as well. And I've gone down the same path as Oriah, I think. Anyway, just don't hold those energies in. Imagine them going down your legs and down your calves, through your feet into the ground, okay, and ground those energies, because otherwise you're going to find that you take on the physical pain or the emotions or whatever it is that the person that you're helping has, and that will build up and build up, because that's what I found when I was going around healing. And I was thinking, why is my back hurting? I must have stood wrong. But then emotions and all kinds of different things, the way I was thinking, everything. So and as soon as my friend said, Ali, you're not grounding the energy, are you? I was like, oh, right.
I'm really glad you brought that up. It's so true. I forgot about that, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that because it's been so long since I've done, healing hands, but she's absolutely correct. I did used to take in other people's things, like you suck in their pain or their suffering or whatever, their other identities or entities or whatever you want to call it. And then I would get nauseous and I would go throw up sometimes.
That happens for me too.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, my mom, and I get my mama's pains 24/7, and I try to ground. I think about all of y'all, and which I always say to
tell yourself that you're not responsible for your mom's path, because if you feel responsible, then you're not really doing any service as a healer, because that means now you're a martyr and now you're just going to go in the pit with her. Yeah. The only way to get her out,
open up to source and let that come through you, as opposed to taking your essence. Sorry.
Yes,
no, don't be sorry.
Thank you, Ali.
So just let it come through you. So you're channeling it instead of giving away your power and getting disempowered. You're the channel for the healing. You're grounding it going through you.
The bottom line is it's the focus, like what Ali is talking about. It's the focus. You have to be your intention and your focus has to be very clear that you are here to help them, not you are here to take things from them, and you're not here to be responsible for them. You're here to help them. So you got to
heal themselves.
Yeah, you got to be very clear about that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all so much.
Welcome. Any other?
Also, because you're very earthy as well. You might find that you pull up the energy from Mother Gaia, or whatever name you want to use. So when you're tuning in, sort of tuning down, and so you're tuning from the heart frequency up to here, those chakras are coming from source that way, from like the crystalline, and then you're tuning into the crystalline grid coming up as well, up to the other chakras. Sorry, I'm trying to rush.
Good. But it's good. You have to tell her, and I don't know how much she can actually understand, but she understands what your intention is of what you're saying. She knows where you're coming from.
She'll feel her way with it.
100%. And see, that's the whole point. If somebody's feeling you, doesn't matter how you say it, as long as it gets across. The goal is to always say it the best way possible. It's a work in progress to always learn how to express these things. But yeah, and we'll keep helping you in this area, Christy, but definitely start working with your hands, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Leslie.
Body twitches are kind of new to me, and I cannot figure it out. It's constantly
my
lip was going nuts.
I love body twitches. Body twitches says I'm alive.
Something's going on because they're twitching every 5 minutes.
Okay, so what's happening is you're getting an attunement, which means that your vibrations are changing, and as you are accelerating, as you are attuning, as you are ascending, your body's going to start matching that new frequency. So let's say you have some areas of your body that feel a little dormant to you, like it's the circulation doesn't go all the way through, it doesn't get a lot of attention, you know, it's kind of like the, you know, the part of your body that nobody inside of you is paying attention to it. Like it could be maybe even like some weird spot like here or something where like you don't think about, and all of a sudden it'll start twitching. And what that is you're bringing consciousness to that area. Your higher intelligence knows what parts of your body need circulation, need to be reactivated, and those areas are blocked energetically. So you're literally going through and reactivating, reopening it up.
Okay.
And so this is very separate from tremors and very separate from MS and nervous, like neurological tension in the body. That's different.
Yeah, I can tell it's
nerves. That's different than nerve endings that are irritated or needing help. You're getting twitches, which means energy is flowing through that part of the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just didn't know if it was someone trying to get my attention. I couldn't, because it's my feet a lot and my hands a lot.
Well, your feet are trying to get your attention, and so is your hands. So it's basically saying to you, you know, you do need a lot of this. I used to spend hours watching TV, driving, I don't know, whatever I'm doing. I would just sit there and I just like go in and just like open it up and open it up and open it up. And then my feet, open it up. Like I couldn't get enough foot massages. I couldn't go to enough people. I called people to my house. I went to people in their places. I couldn't even get enough. So I had to buy all these like foot massagers and rollers and stone walking and all this stuff. And finally, years later, I was able to break through this like mesh of like hard, like, you know, tough living. You know, I had to like break through and soften the bottom of my feet up again. And also my ankles. So I do this to my ankles every single day, morning, noon, and night. I'm constantly popping and opening. And where I learned this from was the guides, Red Eagle, channeled through my husband, who's a channel. And so the guide says, you need to start rotating your ankles. And I had never thought of my ankles before. And I thought that was really odd. And so I started doing it. Now it's been 10 years, I haven't stopped. And what that provides is open circulation for the feet. And it keeps all the circulation flowing from the leg to the foot. You keep all of that energy free flowing. You want your feet to always be relaxed. So you have to work on your feet a lot. That's a major thing, actually. I can go into that for a second. Feet. For psychics,
Sorry, I was laughing so much.
Absolutely.
It's just that I relate because I did exactly the same thing. I'm always there doing my ankles and stuff, so that's why I'm laughing.
That's why.
Have you guys ever thought? Who has not given a thought to their feet right now?
I work on feet for a living.
Okay. Do you work on your own feet? Do you work on your own feet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me give a quick message from the foot to you guys. From the foot directly. So the feet represent everything. They are your stability to life. They ground you. They lock you into the surface of the planet. And as a matter of fact, without your feet, you know, it's pretty rough. You're going to be in a chair. You're going to be wheelchaired. Your feet are precious. Your feet do something for you. And acknowledgement of that is a symbol. When you acknowledge your foot, you're acknowledging a symbol. It's symbolic. It means that you stand here. I am here. I'm not resisting being here. I accept being here. And the more you work on the soles of your feet, the more sensitive the soles of your feet are, the more you're receiving data and information and codes from the planet. And I know we get it from all different sources. We are an interface head to toe. But when I talk about the feet, it's specific because it's a physical, tangible thing. You're literally physically feeling the ground. So if you don't pay attention to that, you're ignoring a part of your own being, of yourself. You're ignoring yourself. It's very telling about self-nurturing if you ignore your feet. It's a talent. It's something you have to learn. Okay, I'm not going to say I came into this like a foot expert. I was the opposite. Like everybody else, I didn't really know the seriousness of feet. I just took it for granted, like everybody does. I got my toes done, and that was the extent of it. So what I realized was my feet had a lot to say, and they needed a lot of love and attention. And in doing so, I illuminated my entire being, became different. My heart became different. How I spoke, everything changed in me when I started acknowledging my feet. So it was like a journey. It opened the doors to everything. So when you work on other people, work on their feet. Al, as far as you, wait, is that, hold on, no, Al, yeah.
Is that the ice cream truck?
I just talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
That happened
And
as soon
Mr.
as we hung up
Softy
yesterday.
has just pulled up outside.
That reminds me of that movie Legion, y'all. How weird. I don't like
The
that.
ice cream truck, as soon as we hung up, came
I,
outside.
Crystal, you have to understand. We got this big message about the ice cream truck yesterday, and talking about how exciting it was to go up to the ice cream truck and order your ice cream, and what that feeling was, how fun that was to order your ice cream at the ice cream truck. And you said that you hung up, an ice cream truck came, and then today again the ice cream truck.
Yes, and
It's
then just
right there.
when you said the wheelchair comment, I saw a comment this morning from a woman that had the exact same name as me, first and last, and she was in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
Those are
Yep.
big messages.
Yeah.
Those are big messages. So Al, as far as
your feet.
you're going to have
Yeah.
to kind of like reintroduce yourself to your feet.
Okay.
You're going to have to say hello. How are you guys doing?
I'm always bashing them into things. I keep breaking my toe.
Because they know you can't see them.
Is that why that happens?
Seriously though, like, every time that like I'm kind of on like the ascent and things are running up and things are really good, I always end up whacking my foot on something. Same goddamn
But you understand
toe.
how symbolic that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry for all the giggles, you guys. This is really funny. I have to admit, Al, it's really funny because it's so telling. So the reason your foot is banging into everything is because they know that you're not aware of them. So they're trying to get your attention.
They're trying to get your attention.
Yes. And also it symbolizes, if that's a word, how you are, your path, how you're walking. If you're fully aware of yourself from head to toe, down to the toe. So what I suggest for you to do today, if you can, when you get off this call, you just sit there, put one foot up on your knee, and begin the journey of saying hello, doing the deep massaging with the thumbs. Take your knuckles and rub it on the inside as hard as you can to get that flow going. I used to
on the outside too.
Yeah. Also, if you have I have these like crystal wands. I don't have one with me now, but it has the round at the end, and you can go in there, or like a wooden dowel, kind of a thick wooden dowel, and press. Then go in between all the toe web and press into these acupuncture points. Press, and then pull. Go into the toes. Also press all around the toes. Press. In between, everywhere, and then in the back of the ankle.
And then rotate them.
Yes, manipulate all of it, and stick your fingers inside where your toes are like this, and grab them so they're separate. Separate them like that and grab them. Then also the ankle, the back of the ankle, put a lot of pressure there, because the back of the ankle is like the one place that nobody pays attention to.
That's
On the Achilles. Yeah.
That's like the place I would never allow anyone or anything to touch. Seriously,
because you're neglecting them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we brought this up, and I'm glad we're talking about it, because this is going to help you a lot. You're going to feel a lot better. It's also going to help your digestion. Your digestion is directly connected to your feet. As a matter of fact, every part of your body. If you go look online at the little graph, the chart.
But make sure you rub downwards, because if you rub upwards, then you're going to constipate yourself.
So go down.
Like for real, you have to rub downward.
Well, is that on the foot or on the back of the ankle?
On the foot, on the bottom of the foot, because that's where your digestive tract is.
Yeah, don't worry about that too much.
Towards
the you can go up and down. Just don't worry. Just relax about it. Sorry, I'm qualified reflexologist.
And also the top of your foot. The top of your foot.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of nerve endings there, and you just go in. So you'll love this, Al. At the end of the day, you're going to become just as addicted as we all.
Yes.
Whoever got into it as much
Just
as I
get the
did,
movement there.
you'll love it.
I'm
Okay.
up for that. I might buy a foot spa or something. I used to have one of those, so I should get another one.
Yeah.
Just
And you and your partner, if you sit there and she puts her foot on your lap and do a foot exchange, you do her foot, she does your foot.
she does always want me to rub her feet. Actually, to be fair.
So then you have it go both ways.
Okay, I'll say that's on orders from the boss.
That's
so.
right. She can come talk to me. Okay, great. Is there any other questions, or where are we? Yes, Tort.
I would like to know if I am going to be losing my sight, because lately it's been really cloudy. And I was
Have you
told
gone to a
about
Have you
7
gone to a
years ago.
doctor? Have you
Yes,
seen
and they said I was going to have ocular degenerative disease and go blind.
Okay.
And I said, no, that's not possible. I've got too many people relying on me and my ego telling me that I need my eyes.
Okay, so there's a bunch of things coming in. First of all, there is a supplement. I think it's called Eye Bright, or is that the name of the combination?
Mhm.
There are
Right.
actual herbs that are for eyesight.
Yeah.
Just go online.
I know them. I picked them up at the natural store.
Yeah. Okay. So start taking a lot of the supplements for your eyes.
I will.
Second, the eyes are giving you a message. So the message is,
I know.
right? The eyes are, okay, so you have very good vision.
Yes.
You have very good vision going out, and asking you now, because if it just picture this. So now your eyes start to go closed, right? Dark.
Right.
So what does that mean?
Right.
That means you have to go inside.
Inside, right. So I have to heal.
So
I understand that.
The eyes are saying to you that you're going to go inside now.
Right.
And then all you have to say is, I don't need to go blind to go inside.
Exactly. I don't need to go blind to go inside.
Right. I got the message. So now let's reverse this. So what do I need to know about going inside? I thought I was inside. I thought I was paying attention. What am I not seeing? What am I not seeing with my eyes?
Okay.
So the eyes will tell you, you can go into meditation, you can do your practices to get the answer, but typically it's because you're not experiencing something within yourself that you want to experience. My gut intuition, and believe me, this can happen to the best of us, the best healers in the world, is I think you need some area, I could feel you need some massaging here in self-love.
Oh, yes, that's the number one. Yes.
That's what I'm sensing. And I sense that it's like if you imagine a heart is in your hand and the heart is losing its frequency, and then you do this and you warm up the heart like this, and you say, come on, come on, come on, heart, come back, warm up the heart, right? So imagine that heart that I'm describing is your inner self. That's the part of you, your inner child. It's the part of you that you haven't acknowledged fully and loved. That part of you is getting tired and quieter and quieter and quieter. The lights are dimming. So you're still very astute on the outside. Your brain is great. You can see things around you. But when it comes to your own self-dialogue, what's happening is it's getting very quiet. The lights are dimming, dimming, dimming. And so the body is manifesting this to show you how bad, that you need this, but how serious are you?
Right.
Are you going to go in and do the work on yourself? It's not work, but it's like you have to take it seriously.
Absolutely.
And this is sometimes, unfortunately, we create and manifest health conditions so that we can address some deeper issues that are on the inside. And that's what happens. So, psychic, healing, channeling, manifestations, processing information, hearing messages, giving messages, all of the above. Imagine in this area, anything you want to work on, anywhere you want to go deeper, anything that you want to experience. Leslie, you want to start talking to animals.
I'm exploring talking to animals.
How deep are you into that conversation right now?
Well, it's interesting because came across a medium at the dentist office the other day too, and she told me that there would be a soulmate coming into my life with the, like, she heard the K sound, and I have been wanting a bulldog and name it Cosmo. And so when I went into meditation to explore it, because I'm like, I have a twin flame, I don't need a soulmate, I don't want another one of those, please. And it was like, your puppy Cosmo is coming soon, you know, so I'm hoping that I'll be getting a puppy soon. I've been really
well, you know, all you
hoping.
have to do is just go online and make that happen. So don't wait any longer. If it's getting to the point where you're getting messages in the stores and you're getting messages online in a Zoom call in the same week,
yeah,
that means it's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
Okay,
time.
I'll go look for her.
Okay, and so what I'm getting for you with the animal communication is that it's going to open you up in ways that you have been wanting to open.
Okay.
And I could feel it on the inner body cavity.
Your feet fixed. Work on your feet.
Yes, so I'll work on my feet.
But I feel like this opening happening in your heart and in your belly area, that you are just going to be really, really, really going into some other areas that you haven't explored yet when it comes to animal communication, because animals are representing our basic self and their behavior, the basic self of the human, especially dogs. So it calls for you to step into your own basic self to communicate. And so it's really a heart opener. It's a chakra opener. It's very, very, it just keeps you wide open. So that's what the animal teachers are here for, is just open us up constantly, keep us open, so that we're not all just cerebral in our heads. And of course they make themselves so fluffy and so cute, so we have to touch them. So it's keeping us entertained, keeping us on the planet. They're our little friends and teachers.
Yeah.
So Al, now you are working on so many levels. You are very astute, and yet we're working on the interface. We're working on the mainframe. Make sure the interface can handle all of this new information and new downloads and new ascension that's happening. So funny enough, as you are ascending, it is becoming clear that the body is requiring a lot of attention so that you can properly have your ascension all the way. So it's finally time. You know that feeling when you get that feeling like, okay, so it's now that time. It's finally time now. Time has come. That's the kind of feeling I get for you on that. And so you're going to have to kind of do like a head to toe. You're going to have to do kind of a full scan internally to see what you're manifesting externally. And it's just going to be like the Temple of Al. You're going to go to the Temple of Al every day. Like if you were in India, have you ever been to India?
Not yet, no.
Okay, have you been in an Indian temple?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so you take your shoes off. Yeah, you take your shoes off, you walk into the marble floors onto the temple. So we are going to be going into the Temple of Al, and we're going to find out what is needed to repair and to bring body back into homeostasis. So that really is your, you know, you have a lot of focuses right now, but that has to maintain somehow the top priority. And are you opposed to seeing a practitioner?
No, not at all.
So maybe Chinese medicine doctor.
Okay.
Because the herbs are very specific and can very much go into the smallest tiny areas where regular Western medicine may not be able to go. So that's something you can look into.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you have any questions at all in any regard to your psychic abilities or your intuition or where you want to go with them?
I would like to know, like you're saying about the mainframe and the interface, because I don't have the ability to go into it voluntarily 100% of the time, or even 60% of the time. It just seems to be, it comes and it goes. And I was just wondering if there was any recommendations of what I could do to kind of better clear the channel, really.
Yes. Well, first of all, self-healing is the doorway. That's the path. Self-healing is the doorway. So you will, as you walk through this corridor, you go through these doors, walk down this hallway, you will begin the process of that centering that I'm always talking about, centering yourself. So when you are the type of person that have a very high antenna and you're receiving so much information that's coming and going in the airwaves and you're receiving it in the body, if you're not hyper focused on your intention, like your intentionality, your intent, what happens is it can get lost in there. So now you're just kind of like a sponge, you're gathering data, it's just so much, what do I do with it? You're trying to sort it out. So that center point, there's many different practices to get to the center. Number one, we had a talk about the center yesterday. Number two, you review that. And number two is any type of meditation where it's third eye meditation. When I first started doing third eye meditations, I would put crystals on my third eye and it would literally start burning. Has anybody ever felt that? And my husband came up to me and he goes, that's kind of dangerous. You shouldn't be putting that up, because it was burning like a red mark around my third eye because it was activating that gland so much.
Right.
So the third eye, I used to get very frustrated with the third eye because it's the third eye. You can't really see it. So I would get frustrated because where is this third eye? I want to know. So I would be on the inside looking around for this third eye. So what I realized is the third eye was like a laser. It's like a beam. It's like a transmission beam. And although your whole body is an interface and you receive information from all different parts of your body, but if you focus on here, what it does is it takes you out of the ethereal. It takes you out of like just in your heart. It takes all the chakras. It's everything all together. It's like you're closing in and you go right in here. So what you're doing when you do your meditations, you could do it with guided meditations for people who teach you how to do third eye openings. You can try that. Even though your personal intuitive ability is super wide open, it's not like you need to be more intuitive, but it's about the focus, your intentionality. So you're coming through, the process of coming through the third eye is what gives you that balance, because you're bringing it all together. So what that does is you're centering yourself and asking yourself for permission to get more information at a pace that you can receive it. And you can share it with people in a pace that they can hear it. You see the pacing? Pacing is important because, you know, like kids, you know, we eat a lot and we just want to eat all the food, but there's no pacing. And as you get older, you understand pacing. You understand how to process information, how quickly you can take things in or assimilate, move it through your system, and how to bring it back out again. And when you focus on your third eye, somehow, some way, it just slows everything down in the right proper tempo and prepares you for transmissions inward and outward, if there's such a thing. And it's all symbolic. Everything I ever say and everything you guys ever say is symbolic.
Right.
In a metaphysical sense, it's symbolic. Everything we say, it's symbolic, symbolic, symbolic. Always look at the deeper meanings to everything. So I say animal communication, that means something. You go deeper in. What does that mean? You're finding parts of yourself. They're a teacher. They're your guides. You're communicating with them, but you're actually learning to open up to yourself in a new way. You see, so it's all communication, symbology. Ali, did you have any questions?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So, yeah, back along, I did a holistic massage course, reflexology and Indian head massage, probably about 10, 12 years ago. And then that was when I discovered I could do the healing and I could just feel the heat or
you need to go
movement.
to Al's house.
I didn't get trained in Reiki. I just discovered that I could do that.
You guys live close to each other, right? She could perform. No?
Not really.
No.
You're far?
No.
You're both
yeah,
in London?
Ali's near Glastonbury, was about 3 hours from here.
Oh, 3 hours.
Near Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how wonderful to have a healer close by.
I would be happy to give you healing, but I've also sort of discovered, like, I've just dipped my toes in through the years and discovered that I could do different things like remote viewing. I'm fascinated by.
Oh, I love
I've only done, say, a couple of times someone's asked me and I've seen these images, told them, and they've gone, oh, that means this and this. I've gone, okay. but I kind of threw myself into music because I'd always had this urge to do music. But then, like Al was saying, I found that when I write music, I am channeling, and there's 2 songs that I really need to record and put up to just see if anyone resonates with that, the messages, because I channeled them sort of January and March time last year, and now they're all kind of current now.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Yeah, and then kind of around October, November, when I started having these like amazing visions through meditating, I was because everything stopped. I stopped a month before everything else did, and I was just meditating every day, like 2-3 times a day sometimes, all guided ones. A lot of Steve Noble I would recommend. Al, fantastic. He really opened me up and helped me focus in. And seeing things about the divine feminine awakening and just experiencing things, and then not understanding them, and then finding the answers later. And I don't really know sort of what I feel like the others were saying, like I know I need to be doing something with these abilities, but I'm not sure what. Is it the healing, or is it more being intuitive, or is it writing through music? I kind of need some direction or something.
Well, it
someone to rein me in.
It sounds like you have a lot of streams of consciousness coming in. You see, you have a lot of streams coming in.
Also portals, because I've realized when I've talked to people, Valerie opens me up a lot. Valerie messages me and we chat about things, and when I'm talking to her, I realize and I connect the dots of things all through my life that I've experienced, and I think, oh wow, yeah, I was there giving healing to somebody, giving an Indian head massage. They were giving me Reiki at the same time. This is about 10 years ago, New Year's Eve, and then we both saw a portal open up and went over this triangle bridge. And there's always bridges with me as well.
Me too.
Went across this triangle bridge, and we were like, okay, and just both experiencing it, and then we saw like druids or pagans or something holding hands, walking around in a circle, chanting, and then both snapped out of it. And then it turned midnight on New Year's Eve, and then we both went, did you? And then I sort of could see holes in her aura, and I was going around sort of filling them in, and she was telling me, oh, you're filling in my aura for me, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And it was just weird because we could both see it all. And other people that I trained with, we'd both have visions and see elementals come through, and she'd be really freaked out, and I'd be like, that's amazing.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When I say this word, I want you to tell me what comes to mind and how do you feel, okay?
Okay.
Surrender.
Surrender, did you say? I feel a bit of resistance. And then the bridges again, kind of that last, that abstract vision that I was so desperate to share in the group within a couple of days, and you were probably thinking, slow down, Ali, and I was like, no, I've got to tell everybody,
because this is your way of being, this is where you're at, and this is beautiful. There's nothing wrong at all.
Absolutely.
But
yes,
you want to learn to hone in, right, and bring it all together, right? So,
yeah.
Well, there's a reason why I say that, because when you have all of yourselves and all of your aspects in kind of a little bit control, just a little bit, not control freak, but like just contained.
Yeah.
What happens is you can direct it effectively to help other people and yourself.
Yes.
Because it's more focused. So my suggestion, and you're so fun because you're in the fairy realm, so when you talk, I just want to laugh because it's very sweet. You're very, very sweet. But I will say that the big word for you is surrender. And this word you're going to use for years to come, trying to understand and learn what this means. And just like me, I resisted it too. And I actually would get very upset because I didn't want to surrender. I didn't know what I was surrendering to, and I didn't like the idea of it. So I didn't know why I needed to do it. And I was very unhappy that I was told that I need to surrender. And that bothered me a lot. But what I've learned is that sometimes when you have like that little splinter in your foot, you always want to go see what's in your foot. You got to take that splinter out, right? So the splinter in your foot right now is surrender. So the idea that it bothers you is the splinter. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the reason why it's bothering you. It's because there's a splinter, and that splinter is, if you surrender, what you're surrendering to, number one, is the unknown worlds. And you are very comfortable playing in the unknown worlds. You're comfortable there, right?
Yeah.
You don't oppose it. You're happy to be in the unknown. You're like an explorer, so you're fine there. But if you surrender to the unknown worlds, that also means you're surrendering to a couple other things: divine process, how things occur, the way they occur, your position or part you play in it for yourself and for others, and how you are perceived and how you are received is all one big area of when you surrender to your massive gifts. When you surrender totally, you are letting go of control, of trying to navigate this UFO. You let go completely, and then what you do, because you think, if I let go completely, I'll go completely crazy, like wild. But no, it's the opposite. You're actually more wild now than you will be if you surrender. When you surrender, you go into divine flow, which means there's no resistance at any point. So now you're just a transmission.
I
Right.
feel like I'm close to that, but like you
You're
said
very
before,
close.
I'm dipping in and out of it, and that last vision that I had scared me, that I stopped meditating, because when I
Because
saw
you don't
those
think you're
visions-
allowed. You just don't think
Yeah.
you're allowed. You don't think you're allowed.
and it was scary because I didn't know who to talk to about it, and no one really understood. But now obviously
Yeah.
I can be received and I can be
Yes,
understood.
now.
Right. So do you understand about surrender? Because, you know, for me, I had to have it explained to me about 4,000 times. So I'll explain it a little bit more, but it's going to be a long process of you understanding what surrender is. Okay. This is just the
Yeah.
beginning. I'm just pointing it out to you. This is
Thank
going to be a
you.
journey for you. It's going to send you on like a mission. So
Okay.
the mission is, what does surrender mean to me? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So if surrender means something bad, then you're going to have to rework your definition and change it.
In the material world, I've surrendered to, I've given up everything that was familiar. So I left this job, I've finished the other, I had like several jobs, and they've all stopped. And then with quarantine, the couple that I had left teaching have also stopped. So now I almost feel like in that respect, I have surrendered. Does that make sense?
Good.
But obviously.
Okay, well, that's a starting point. So when you surrender at this juncture, what happens is the physical is now surrendered, right? You're in the physical, you surrendered in the physical.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is your ascension is going to really take off now, because there's no obstruction.
Okay.
That's because your physical is now matching more of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now as you start to go into your ascension, what happens is you have so much massive data and so much beautiful experiences and so much downloads and all these things happening. So what happens is, if you surrender at this point internally with yourself, you are acknowledging the part you play in the universe, like the role you have. You're not just a leaf in the wind. You're an actual being with a purpose. You're surrendered to that idea. You're also surrendered to the idea that you are safe, you are loved, and all the information that's coming through is for you. It's at the highest levels. It's divine. You're here to share. And you surrender to that completely, no questions. You acknowledge that you are a voice to be heard. You are a voice for people to hear, and you have surrendered to that idea as well.
That's where the resistance is.
Yes,
So
because
I don't deserve.
Can I tell you why? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. It's because you don't think you're qualified.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what's really crazy is you sound really qualified.
You're overqualified.
Yeah.
Get the tissue boxes out.
Like I did this morning.
That's kind of why when that Celestial Prophecy film that someone shared, and I watched that, and I was just crying all the way through, because I understood
Right.
everything.
That's what I did this morning. Yes.
The gold and the purple that they were seeing is what I see all the time. Every time I meditate, that's just I thought that's what everybody sees. That is what everybody
so you're
sees.
at this point where you're having your full awakening, you're having your full ascension, you're totally in flow, everything is working. The only thing that's missing is letting go and letting yourself have the whole shebang. You're letting yourself have the whole experience. You're letting yourself have all the downloads. You're letting yourself have all the abilities. You're letting yourself have the flow. You're letting yourself have your expression. Everything is just free flowing, no obstructions. You're not stopping yourself. You're so close. Now, if I were to just let you go on your own to see how long it would take you from this moment, and if I never said a word to you, it could take 5, 10, it could take, honestly,
Yeah.
it could take 5 to 10 years. I hate to say it, because this stage has a circular kind of experience, like a chasing of the tail, where you keep repeating and will go into more and more, but the same. So you never actually are going forward the way you want. So that's why I have to jump in here and give you this one word, because this one word is going to stop everything dead in its tracks. Because you will be forced to acknowledge yourself as divine, as a healer, as a teacher, as a magician, as an alien, as a fairy, as the water and the earth and space and cosmos and everything. You'll acknowledge yourself as God, God self, full acknowledgement.
I need to, I can't, so, yeah, sorry. I kind of lost the words. I want to say something, but I can't.
No, it's good. Perfect. Because you're starting to understand what this means to stop internally and receive this powerful, powerful message of yours. You have a powerful message to the world.
And every time I think I'm going to record
these songs. You want to know what it is? You want to know what your message is?
Yeah.
I believe in magic. We need a lot of people like you. We need a lot of people that believe in magic and is not ashamed to talk about it, not afraid to talk about it. We'll talk about it with the children, with the elderly. You speak magic because inside of that is beauty and love and power and everything.
I've been told that when I teach and things like that, that I'm healing people while I'm teaching and that I'm uplifting and that I'm kind of channeling through guidance. And
so do you see you're at the stage where you can talk about yourself almost as in the third person?
Right.
You hear it? I'm talking about Ali over here. Let me tell you about this woman over here, Ali. She talks. When Ali talks, let me tell you, people feel things.
Right.
So what we're doing is bringing you home. We're bringing you home. Bringing it all here. We're bringing you internal centered so that when you speak, you already know where you're coming from because you already do. So you now are just letting it out, but you're doing it with acknowledging that you are a healer.
I'm 100% sure of that.
So let's talk about Crystal for a minute. So before she started working with the kids, there was a couple months before she actually engaged and started working with the kids face to face. She had been studying, she did her whatever, get her degree, whatever she had to do, right? But then there was a moment where it was time for her to fly. It was her class, her kids, her group, whatever it was, right? There was this moment, Crystal, where you had to interface. And she probably didn't feel qualified, or maybe she did, but she probably wasn't where she is today. You see where she is today with kids? She's become one with the experience, right? You guys see that?
Right.
She is the teaching.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the teacher to the kids. She is the teaching itself, right? So you're at this stage, Ali. Oh, wait. Somebody's coming. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was about to run out of charge.
Okay. So you're at the stage where you're teaching yourself that it's okay to be a teacher. Something happens when you engage with yourself as a teacher. So Crystal knows herself as a teacher, right, Crystal?
Yeah.
Okay, so she knows she's a teacher. And you can try to convince her right now that she's not, and she's not going to really believe you. Right? Now, if you go back before the 5 years when she felt kind of ready, almost ready, but not sure, and you asked her, Crystal, are you a teacher? She would say, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think I'm a teacher. They say I'm a teacher. I resemble a teacher. I kind of feel like I could be a teacher. I think I am, actually. Do you remember that stage, Crystal?
Yeah.
It's a stage where you're not really sure. But then all of a sudden, the thing happens where Crystal acknowledges, wow, I'm teaching right now. Like, this is it. This is actually happening. It's real. And then she just let it flow. It's like letting the ball run down the court. She just let it go and then jumped into the world of teaching, surrendered. She surrendered to teaching. You see? And she's right across from you with Al in the middle. Look at this, the 3 teachers here. Surround 2 women on either side, a woman above Al and 2 women on either side. Actually, it's a cross. He's in the middle of 4 women.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, wait, you probably not see it on your screen this way. That's how it shows up in my
I saw it
screen.
in a line for me.
Oh, well, if I have it on gallery view, and so it shows it like that. But anyway, that was
right. Okay.
It was entertaining for me anyway. So Ali, so what you're doing is you're at the stage where you're deciding whether or not you are valid to teach, you're a valid teacher and healer, and you are ready. Because everything in you tells you that you are.
Because I've been teaching singing for about 7 years.
So
I've been
you understand teaching, but to be a healer and teach.
Well, and I felt that I was a fake doing that because a friend kind of said, oh, I've turned down this job, but I've put you forward for it. I was like, what? No, I can't do that. And so I kind of felt like even though I'd done a degree in music and everything else, and I was singing, I hadn't done the grades, but then I was sort of going in teaching musicals and teaching all these 4-part harmonies and writing harmonies for choirs and sort of writing my own arrangements for songs, and just kind of felt my way and taught myself to teach, if you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I just have to do the same thing with whatever my path is.
That's right. And then that's correct.
Me,
and you know what? And from what was that, Crystal?
Just one of the things that helped me, when I was graduated, right before I started teaching, was to write my thesis. We had to write a thesis because I was thinking about going to get my credential, a thesis about yourself. So I had to, reflect on, like, if I was telling somebody, okay, this is my story. I was born, this was my childhood, and then these big events happened that impacted me, and then what led me to be where I want to be a teacher was this specific event that happened, made me feel like, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to, be a mother, and I want to be a teacher and like help children. And once I wrote that down, it just stuck with me. So whenever I would doubt, I kind of would go back to my written statement I made about my path and about my background. And that kind of helped me a little bit, just like seeing a picture, like I saw myself in a clear way. That kind of just helped me reaffirm who I was and what led me to be on that path at that moment.
So beautiful. Ali, how does that sound to you?
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I kind of still don't know what my path is, though. That might sound stupid after the conversation we just had.
No.
I've thought about going into actual teaching as well.
So nobody told you how to become the music teacher, right?
Yeah, but I missed out a little piece. I did go and teach music tech at a college for 3 years. And so I did do a teaching qualification for that as well.
But there was a time that you didn't know that's what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And do you see how you naturally and organically found your way?
Yeah.
And you kept going towards one thing more than the other thing. And before you knew it, you ended up in music. Yeah. That's exactly how you're going to find your modality or the thing that you, but if you want for fun, I can tell you a couple things that are coming up for me intuitively that you can start. If it feels good to you, you can jump into it just to get the ball rolling. You're going to be
Yes,
a kind of surprised because you're not going to probably suspect me to say this.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm.
I see you doing beautiful storybooks and written stories for children right off the bat. You probably don't know this about yourself yet, but the reason why I say this is because you are very tapped into this fantastical, beautiful, magical world that children live in.
I used to make up stories for my kids every night at bedtime. They do.
There you go.
Can we have a made up one?
So that will be a great way for you to hone in your skills, bring it all together, and put it in a format that can be received. And this is going to be the beginning of something for you. Not necessarily you have to become a children's book writer for the rest of your life, just like I'm no longer laying hands on people, but it's a stage because you're already a communicator. You're already speaking, and you already can transfer energies from other realms here. You're already doing that. So to get your language and your words to impact people, I want you to start with children because they're the hardest, not the easiest. They're the hardest because they're the most advanced. If you can work with children, you are getting your PhD program as a soul. That's why I have 5 kids. You're getting a PhD program because with children, anything goes. Anything goes. Yep. No boundaries, anything goes. Totally expressed, totally present. They're here for the long haul. No questions about it. They're on their toes, ready for action at any time. They're very advanced. We all started out that way, right? We're trying to go back to that.
Yeah, I have children all the time coming up to me constantly. Yeah. And I have adopted kids all over the world.
Yeah, they smell it on you.
Yes.
So Ali, by you focusing on children's book writing, it's going to help you to organize all these forms of communication that are coming through, all of these like frequencies that you receive constantly. You can put them together in a package that can be received. And once you start to understand this dynamic, from there, anything is possible. You can do whatever you want. You can do any kind of modality you want. You could be a psychic if you want, like straight to psychic and just have readings. You could be a psychic medium if you want to go that direction. You can go into the healing arts. There's a number of things that you can do. There's no limit.
Okay. Thank you.
Surrender.
That's completely not what I was expecting.
I know. That's why I said it. That is why I said it.
I'm thinking I've got no little kids around me anymore, just babies.
You know why? One of the reasons I told you to do that is because it's going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done in your life.
I've got a friend who's done it, and we were talking about me writing the music for it or doing sound for it.
For you to write a children's book would require you to sit still within your being.
She said that she doesn't have little kids around. I can send you some videos of mine and my nephews, and I promise that that'll help.
I mean, for them to receive it. Do you see what I mean?
Have to be able to receive it. The message.
Because I'm not around them.
But once you decide, they will come to you. I promise you.
I just because of lockdown and stuff. Do you see what I mean?
No, but this is written words. So what happens is if you write to children and children receive your message, that means that you have simplified your complexity to the point where children can hear a very high frequency message. So it's going to hone in your skill set. It's going to be very challenging for you. It's not going to be easy. Especially us wild children that have been free, loving, hippie, baby, star children, running in the sun like we do. to get us to be focused and to pull our energies together to communicate precisely can break you open. And
yeah, and it's the responsibility of what do I include the content, because
well,
if I include something, is it going to be too much for them?
For children? Well, it depends. If you want to write to kids under 10 years old, which is what I recommend, that age, 10 and under, you are forced to speak coherently and clearly while delivering information that's very advanced. That is going to help you to process all this powerful information coming through you. It's going
I
to
offer my daughter as tribute.
Yeah.
I think she would be, honestly, I do, thinking about it. Like, because she's just
maybe they can have Skype sessions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have 4 of them, but she's my, yeah, she, like, hearing her speak, they just remind me so much of each other.
Yeah.
Aww.
And this is magic. Children just relate so much to that
so smart
realm, so they're already open to receive that. And
exactly.
if that's within you, then it's gonna once they receive it, it's gonna just be overwhelming. But you know, think some of the stories you used to tell your children, like you said, they wanted to hear those made up stories. You know, that could spark
a long time ago.
Where to start, and then.
Yeah.
Just
they're 18 and 21 now. I'm thinking, oh God.
So Ali, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to ask Crystal some questions, okay? I want you to listen to her answers. Okay? So Crystal, do you feel that in your 5 years that you've been working with these special children, are they special needs children or no? Just
it's regional Head Start, so it's a low income preschool.
Okay.
And some of our children come in that are special needs. We get that have some delays and learning delays and behaviors.
Okay. So in your 5 years of working with children, have you felt that the children have changed you?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel that you have become a better person?
Yeah.
Do you respect yourself more?
It's definitely respect myself more and it's just so fulfilling, like just
do you feel the children have given you massive amounts of gifts?
Yeah, because it was stressful, because you take, like I said, you just really align with everything that they're feeling. And, you know, even though they're so young, they're coming in with so much pain. And so you have to look past that pain and really, you know, see them and help them to have trust again.
Right.
So self-care for me, I had to get on the path of self-care because I was like, I took it so seriously that I have to be in a very good positive space because I'm attuning with them. So taking care of myself and having self-care routines became really important for me. So that's one of the gifts that they've given me.
Do you feel that this is a privilege, and do you feel thankful that you get to work with children every day?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do, because, you know, it's just such a time for them to just help you reflect a lot about you. You know, there's things, of course, they could push your buttons and you want to think certain way, and it just helps you be in a really calm state and stay there, because that's where you have to be to connect with them.
Okay, Ali, do you hear everything she just said?
Yeah.
This is all the things that you are working on with yourself right now in your journey spiritually. And you could play this video back and listen to what she said. So the children, if you get to a point that you're at right now where you can run circles around adults, Ali, you could just run circles around your peers because you're just flying so high. There's so much energy. There's so much information. You have so much, it's so crystalline. It's so beautiful. It's so magical. You feel so good in it. And most adults couldn't like even keep up with you. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No.
It would probably be nice to find a couple like-minded friends that you can play with, but most of the time, most adults can't follow you. As soon as you start telling them your experiences, it would be really hard for them to relate.
Do you mean because of the way I'm communicating?
No,
or
because of what you're communicating.
because of what I'm experiencing?
Yes. Most people can't hear it. You know
Yeah.
that? Are you aware of that?
I went to visit a friend for the first time since lockdown a couple of days ago, and we were chatting away about different things, and she's having a hard time, so I was doing a lot of listening and grounding for her and stuff. And then I went to start sharing something, and I thought, oh no, that makes me sound crazy. Oh no, that makes me sound like, and I'd go to say things. She sort of sat up a bit, and she was sort of started listening like this. And I thought, oh
Like,
no.
what is she talking about?
Yeah.
So-
and even my kids, I can only share so much with them. I mean, they're
Right.
adults, but
Okay,
I kind of touch on things.
So my teacher told me, what good does it do for you to know a lot of things if you could only teach a little bit of what you know? It would be best to know a little bit of things, but you can speak the entirety of what you know clearly. You see that? So my teacher taught me that, and that stayed with me. And I said, wow, that's so true. So what good does it do if you know this much, but you can only communicate this much? It's better to know this much and communicate this entirely in all of its forms. So the reason I'm bringing children into it, and not children at home where you can just play with, but I'm talking like you're writing a story for children, very specific, because you're doing a task. You have like a mission. Your mission is you're going to give information to children that are going to excite them and challenge them, and they're laughing and they love the story. It's very magical, and it's coming from you. And they get the message that you're giving them. That's high level communication. So I've had some teachers, let me tell you, over the years, criticize the way I teach. To this day, I still have teachers, very advanced teachers that I respect. They criticize the way I teach. They say to me, you're too basic. The way you speak is like everyone else. You don't do your whole like namaste thing, right? And I say, the reason I talk like this is because this is where everybody listens from. And this is where everybody can hear me. And I'm heard clearly. I'm willing to not look fancy. I'm willing to not look super, super, super advanced. But if I'm making sense and you understand what I'm saying, and I'm helping you move your process along, I've done an advanced thing. So when teachers criticize me, I just send them love. I just say, I'm sorry I don't appeal to you, but it works. My teachings work. So you have to be able to communicate clearly your message. So now you have a big message, Ali. Your message is magic is real. The end. And that's a powerful statement to say in this time and age and this world. And you're coherent and smart and intelligent and creative and talented. And on top of that, you just said that. And you're not ashamed either. You're not hiding. You're not pretending that magic is not real and you're just going to say it's real, but you don't really believe it. You are announcing it. And let me tell you something. People feel it big time.
Oh, yes.
So I have to jump in there and just say, I don't practice magic or anything. I'm not.
Not that kind of magic. Not occult magic.
Okay.
No, we're not talking about Wicca. We're not talking about the pentagram. We're not talking about that kind of magic. We're talking about magic meaning the unknown realms.
Just like the power of intention and like energy, and that's the kind of
it's more than that. It's more crystalline than that. It's very high frequency. Like you have no problems if you wanted to channel a message from a fairy.
Okay, I did a meditation a couple of days ago in the garden in the sun,
and there was a fairy.
and I think it was a Pleiadian one or an Arcturian one or something like that to try and connect.
Okay.
And then when I opened, I kind of half opened my eyes near the end, and I could just see like all around my energy body, like just glistening, like glittering.
So imagine,
it was really
okay, so imagine you write a story about this. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. You write a
it has
story
to be more about an experience, and then maybe add some
yes.
ideas.
You tell your
into
story
it.
of the fairy that you saw glistening in the leaves, and you go into detail and tell your story. And the whole moral of the story is magic is real. Now, how is this going to help you in your day-to-day life? You will be more concise and more centered in your intention of what you're trying to say. And what you're trying to say is, I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I teach magic. It's very high level. That's hard to do. So bear with me, but I'll do my best. Because you're working in very high realms. So when you're coming from this place, the way you speak, everything is important. So I'm going to tell you something very interesting. Tomorrow night, well, in Holland, it would be 9 p.m. in Holland time. And I don't know what time it would be here in the US, but in Southern California. But tomorrow I'm interviewing Tom Spackle.
Oh, brilliant.
And he is a crystal indigo child who's now 26, 27. And when he speaks, your mind is totally, completely blown. It is like, imagine a classroom.
Resonate with him.
Imagine a classroom full of children, and all of them became one voice and one unison and spoke all the different forms of magic at one point and spoke directly to you. That's how he sounds. And he looks like it, and he talks like it, and his voice and how he delivers. And when you're listening to him, you can't even believe what you're listening to.
Right.
Every time he's talking, you can't even, I've had so many FaceTimes with him. I just sit there like this. Like sometimes I cry. And he's like, are you okay?
Right.
I'm like, I'm fine. I just didn't know people like you existed. I never met one. And now I have, and I just don't know what to say. I have to interview you. And I don't care if it's going to be a 2 or 3 or 4-part series. I don't care how long it's going to take. And you are going to love him, Ollie. You're going to love him.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. He talks about everything off planet, interplanetary, interdimensional, and he is in it, living in it. He's not teaching it like I am teaching to understand it. He's just telling you his story. So why he's teamed up with me is I asked him, would he like to be a communicator? Would he like to share his information globally? And he said, yes, he would like that. And then he had a huge death the second I hung up the phone. And I told him that was going to happen. Be prepared. You're just realizing that your way of being is now considered something people can learn from. So you're actually going to, you're going to be kind of a teacher without knowing it. Like you're going to, just your life experiences is going to be enough. And I said, so you're going to have, when I hang up the phone with you, you're going to crash. Better drink a bunch of water, but you're going to crash hard. He crashed for 5 days. He almost went to the hospital. His heart palpitations, his ascension symptoms, crown chakra, high frequency, trembles, vomiting, everything. He went full because he's so sensitive. So why did he have that? Why did he have those experiences after I got off the phone with him? And it's not unusual that's happened when I talk to people because I'm an activator. However, in this particular case, he's already coming with so much data that all I said to him was, would you like to direct it to the planet? Would you like to share this with the planet? Would you like people to be able to watch online? Is that okay with you? And he was very
overwhelming for him.
Yeah, and he was very shy, and he says, yeah, I would like that very much. It was very sweet, and I'm very excited, and so that's why I'm going to do it. And this will help you a lot, Ali, because you're going to see somebody who has the same frequency, energetic information that's coming through like you do, and you're going to see how he communicates about it. You're going to be blown away. I learn all the time talking to him.
I want to understand how I'm, like Al was saying the other day about nodes or something, and I feel that when I had that last vision, I was shown these nodes of rainbow kind of thing,
Mhm.
after I'd seen this kind of, these
Mhm.
triangles that were like, I can't think of what, is it Taurus or is it something else? I can't think, but it's like a figure of 8 around you. And it's got, if you look close at it, it looks like loads of triangles, but it's, you know, those kaleidoscope
Yeah,
things,
it's
if
like
you do something
you're
and it
seeing
just
your
kept going
crystalline.
round.
I feel like you're seeing your
crystalline.
crystalline auric field. You're seeing yourself.
Right.
This is your own crystalline energy around you.
Yeah. And then I sort of looked out and saw like more light and dark and shade of like pixels that were all like sort of hexagram shapes, and then these just pinpoints in the distance of these rainbows, just
So now
nodules.
imagine Ali, if you took these experiences and the way you share it is you're sharing it with the intention of helping other people see how they can also do this.
I kind of, it's like I've experienced it, but I don't know how I like.
But you have
I can't access it the same as Al.
You
It
have
just
to start
happens.
somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You have to. If you want to be a healer and work with your abilities and you have this kind of complexity, you have to learn how to hone in to teach this and share. And right now, the only way you can do it is through sharing beautiful, magical stories. And that's what you should absolutely focus on, that. And eventually, like, could you imagine what kind of healings you can give with people and helping them to go into their third eye and go into their visuals and to see all of the other realms. So this is very detailed, as you can see. I mean, obviously this is like, we can have a whole segment just on your whole experience because it's so vast. You have so much information and it's so beautiful.
Thank you for giving me so much
well,
guidance.
I feel it was
time.
helpful for, I'm sure there's people who tuned in and there's people that are getting some value from understanding the details of this. When you have this kind of experience, it's good to know there's other avenues that you can go to express yourself with this information. So
thank you so much. And I just know that at the moment for me, it's all about portals and understanding that a portal opens and there's a bridge.
And you
that's happened
so
every time.
Your new portal right now is to walk through this area of centering your communication.
The last one, there wasn't just one bridge or one portal though. It just went back and everything's become multi-dimensional ever since I saw Metatron's cube and went into this temple. And when I went into this for the priestess group, I went into the temple, and before I entered, there was a doorknob, and I couldn't, they were saying, hold the doorknob and open the door, but I couldn't touch it because it just kept going back and back and back, and it had so much depth. And ever since then, everything's just been coming out of me. It's because it's multi-dimensional, so you can't just, there's not just one thing. And then when I went in and I could see this torus of energy, like wicker, like golden thread wrapped around and around, just there, like in a ball, but it's constantly morphing and changing like this. And then it turns into a bird taking flight, and it turns into a cube, which then had a triangles coming out of it, which is Metatron's cube, isn't it?
So Ali, when I first started my shamanism and I was working with people with journeys in plant medicine, I used to talk exactly like you all the time. And I mean, people were blown away all the time and they didn't know what to do, and everyone loved it, but they didn't know exactly what to do with this information. So that's where I had to learn and hone in on my abilities. So I actually don't even share all of the things so much anymore because it's too much. I almost can't. So at this point, what I do is I now give the cream off of the top of the milk. I give the cream. You see, I just give that top part.
And simplify it.
I simplify it down and give it in a digestible format so people are understanding it for themselves. Because ultimately, when people are listening to one another, they're trying to receive value and they want to get value for themselves. That's why they listen. So if you provide value in your conversation, then they will be like digesting. So your stories are amazing, but you need to bring the cream of the story. The cream of the story. You have to, because this is a stage. It's a stage of becoming a healer, a massive healer. This is a stage. It's super important. We all have had to learn it, those of us who have gone this path. And we all have had to have someone tell us, just like I'm telling you, I've had people have to tell me. My best friend, she has a PhD, or not PhD, she has a master's degree. She hasn't been around children. And when she first was introduced to my kids 7 years ago, and she was being friends with the younger ones, she would talk like a college professor to my 8-year-old. And I kept saying, what are you doing? She doesn't understand those words. Those are such big words. And she would get so flustered. Well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, kids don't understand that language. You have to change your language. You have to change it so they can understand you. And it took her years, and it became an exercise for her. And she took it on wholeheartedly to learn, what do I have to do to have, like they would ask very profound questions and she would have to give them a profound answer, but use very simple language. She said it was the hardest thing she's ever had to learn in her life. It was super, super hard for her to learn how to speak to children. Don't you find that fascinating? Just listen to that sentence, how that sounds. You find it very difficult to talk to children. That's a very odd thing to say to yourself. So you have to, there's a lot of information there for you to understand about basics, understanding how to go back to your core, how to go back to your center, how to bring information through in a concise way that people understand what you're saying. I've had readings from readers, like I've had readers like astrology readers and tarot readers. It was so complex, my head was spinning. I didn't even know what they were saying. So what good does the reading do?
Yeah.
If I didn't get anything from it, because I don't know what you just said.
I think when I'm speaking to children and teaching children, because I do as well, I've done shows for children, or I dep at theatre schools, and I just relate to them on their level straight away. But I think the reason I come across as flustered when I'm trying to share my experiences is because I'm so excited, and I get so excited and I start talking fast, and then I'm like, oh, and then what was this, and then that happened, and then this, and because I'm still figuring out what it means and why it's happening, to be able to explain it in a more mature way.
Right. So let me jump over to Al, because I'm sensing a lot of things happening over there. So Al, while you're listening to Ali, this is a teacher's pod, apparently. We're in a teacher's group. So when you're listening to Ali speak, what's coming up for you as a teacher yourself?
Lots of information. I feel lots of information and excitement, and we're going on a trip, but at warp factor 9, which is cool. But I'm kind of my cruising speed is like warp factor 5.5.
Now, so here's the thing, Ali, which is really fascinating. Al and I speak for both of us because I know, I can't speak for the rest of you because I don't know, but I know that we can go very, 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 very fast. Very, very, very fast. Right, Al? We have it in us to do that. We can go at the speed of thought, very, very instantaneous speed. But the reason why we have chosen not to do that anymore is so that other people can be with us in our journey. That's why. That's the only reason why. Is we wanted to make sure everybody came along to the party. And we wanted everybody to join us. And so we don't leave them in the dust.
Got you.
That's it. So I gave you a pretty strong teaching lesson right now that's most people can't really handle. I gave you something very hard to hear, but you heard it because you can see where we're coming from is so much love and really wanting you to hone in on your abilities because you have such a gift. So you can hear it. But you see, this was a very strong message, wasn't it? If you let it sink in, you'll see. It gets stronger and stronger as the days will go by.
I need to contain my excitement a lot more.
No, you not contain, because that's the opposite direction. No, don't contain. That's an insult to God. Oh. Nature doesn't contain itself. The volcanoes do not contain themselves. The ocean does not contain themselves. That's an insult. You don't contain yourself. There's no shame. What you're doing is you're learning how to hone in on the message behind the experience. And it's important because other people want to play with you and get in there with you and have fun with you, and they don't know exactly where to jump in. They don't know where to play. It's just hard to find the location. So you provide the location for them to find you. So you say to them, I have all these experiences, these visuals, let me tell you about them. Would you like to know how to do that? Let me try to show you. The way I do it is this. This is how I try. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, you bring people in so that you can have this effective teaching. That was the question you asked. What area am I going with this? The area you're going is you're surrendering to the idea that you're a teacher, that you're a healer. So this is a part of the honing in. This is a part of the lesson plan. And when you get to this stage, from this moment on, it does not get easier from here. It does not get easier from here at all. Like, Crystal is just beginning her journey with children. She went through the hardest part, but there's parts that it gets more fascinating, and she's gonna have to go deeper within herself and learn more. It's just the beginning. So don't feel bad at all. I hope you don't feel bad at all. I do not want you to feel bad. Try to find the part in you that doesn't feel bad.
She's beautiful. There's no, yeah, it's been.
Yeah, don't feel bad about anything that I'm saying. Can you find it?
Yeah, and I think that sometimes I'm just sort of going so deep into feeling something.
Which is, but you want that. That's a good thing. Don't ever
my
lose that.
face is telling a different story.
It's not the face. No. It's not the face. It's not the delivery, like, per se. It's what you're saying about it. So how you're giving the information, you're giving it in beautiful color pictures, but then we need to know what happens after that. What happens under that? What happens through that? What's the essence of the message? What's the story? So if you were to say what was the sacred geometry example you gave? Was it Melchizedek? No. What did you say?
Metatron.
Metatron.
So you had the Metatron symbol, right? So that probably represented something very powerful for you.
Yeah.
Right?
It was just completely opening me to divine source. I felt.
Absolutely.
Bingo. Right there.
That's it.
That's it. That's the message. You did it.
It was there. I just get too excited about the details.
Yes, there's a little bit of speed, issue. You go fast, but that's okay. It's not that. It's that you need to bring the message with the story, because otherwise people don't know what you're saying about.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I also feel like on these lives that I've got to quickly say what I need to say to let someone else speak. And so I kind of maybe miss the main point of what I should have been saying, as you've pointed out.
Yes, to an extent, yes. You still understand you're doing nothing wrong. You're going into a stage of understanding yourself as a healer, and these are the steps you have to take. What I'm doing publicly and openly in front of everyone, whoever is watching this, is watching the steps a healer takes from going from experience to honing in the message, packaging it up, and delivering it so the other person can hear it properly and the message is conveyed. It's a talent. It takes experience. It's not easy, but you have to start somewhere. And you are right at that precipice because you've done so much already. You have already experienced so much that you are ready to give this information away. You're ready to share who you are. You have a mastery about you that you're learning. You understand?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So for those of you who watch this very careful, precise surgery, so it just took years of me helping people to see how you can go into the tiniest places, but you see how careful you have to be, because it can go wrong really fast and they get the wrong message. So it's a constant focus. We're all teachers here. So the thing we're learning is about that, how our delivery and how we provide the information about who we are is centered, and the pacing is correct. How you deliver it. You see the feeling behind it. It's just very easy to understand.
And I understand now even more. I've just had a realization from both of those two visions. They both started introducing me, saying, look, this is your multidimensional self here. One was the doorway in to that multidimensional self to then receive the divine love and source from the Metatron's cube. And the bird taking flight was me taking flight and letting go. And the other one was going into the portal, seeing the bridges going back and back and back, portals within a portal into infinity with no end, all of the different multi-dimensions. And the end of that one was the angel wings, which I associate with divine love and source, and then the hands reaching out to me, which were receiving me and giving to me at the same time.
So let me check in with
Perfect.
Al. Al, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Is that okay?
I'm just chilling. I'm rubbing my foot.
Okay.
I know we're kind of coming to the end, but I just
Yes.
thought it's very interesting that Metatron's cube has been coming up a lot, because for me, for a while, I have been seeing this over and over again in different places, and the symbolism
and Santaphon.
The whole.
Yes.
I can't seem to get away from Metatron's cube at the moment. It's like it's stalking me.
For a reason.
Me too.
Heal your feet.
And what is that shape with the two pyramids, you know, with the two triangles? That is the, I can't think of the
Well,
word.
there's different triangles represent many things, because it can also represent the earth, body, mind, and spirit. You also have anything that's a triangle has the two bases at the bottom, and then you have your higher frequency self. So it's always pointing in the right direction. So you can represent so many things with this triangle.
And the six-pointed star, that is also part of Metatron's cube, isn't it? But when it's like when it's flat, it means something else. And Larry was sharing that. I've been reading lots of stuff about it, but I just can't articulate it at the moment.
You should post any good videos on it, and we can put it on the wall for sure.
Okay.
So we went way longer than we normally did on purpose, because I really wanted to get to the juice of the conversation, because I knew that anytime you talk about these topics, it can go for a while, because these are heavy topics. So I just want to thank you guys. You've been amazing.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Love you all. Have a great day.
Thank you guys. And hopefully we see each other soon. And Crystal, welcome to our family.
Yes. Welcome, Crystal. Have a great day.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful day and night.
Thank you.
Night.